Hello, May from Atticus Business Accountants here. Just wanted to do a quick video outlining superannuation obligations for contractors. I recently did a quick video for our clients on whether their workers should be correctly classified as employees or contractors, and it got me thinking that a lot of employers don't realise that for some contractor payments they also need to pay super. So what the ATO look at in determining whether you are obligated to pay super on a payment to a contractor is whether the contract that you have with that contractor is wholly and principally for labour. So let me give you an example to explain that best. My business, I might be considering hiring a freelance marketing and administration guru who runs their own business. Let's call her Catherine. I go ahead and I contract with Catherine to provide a whole heap of marketing services to my business. But the contract that I have with Catherine is that she does the work personally because I think she's great. I don't want anyone else in her business. I would like Catherine, who is a sole trader, to undertake the work for me personally. And the entire contract is for her to do marketing services. So the value of the contract is principally or wholly for labour. This means that I have to pay super for her payments. Now, super for her is calculated very similar to any other employee. It's at the 9.5% rate, and it's on the labour component. So if, for instance, Catherine also sold me some products or services and I paid her for those, I wouldn't pay super on that component. I would need to split those out of the payment I make to her and work out a reasonable portion that is the labour component and pay super at 9.5% of that. I felt that was something a lot of employers don't realise, and I realised the superannuation and employee area can be a real minefield, but it's very important that it is something that employers get right because the penalties can be very severe. If you fail to pay super for someone that you should have, i.e. an employee or in this case some contractors, the super becomes late, it becomes no longer a tax deduction, and the ATO can apply penalties and interest. If you do find yourself in this situation, or if you think there is a relationship you have with a contractor where you may not be quite compliant or you're concerned you haven't been paying the super, give us a bell and we can help run through your obligations. There is some talk that the ATO are releasing an amnesty to help employers catch up on late super obligations. That still has not passed Parliament at the time that I'm filming this video, but if there are ones that you're concerned about, it is a good time to look at your obligations and catch those up. There's a few other things that you need to think about. If you do need to pay super for your contractors, it's no different to any other employee. You will need to give them a super choice form and pay super through a clearinghouse, just like you do with another employee. Couple of things, other things to think about: state taxes, things like work cover obligations, and payroll tax applies to those sort of workers in Queensland as well, but it's worth looking at the different states that our clients operate in as the rules do differ. But federally, the ATO also have a couple of other obligations you need to think about in relation to contractors. And that's where you need to make sure that they're always giving you an invoice that importantly contains their ABN. If their ABN is not on the invoice, you have an obligation to withhold no ABN tax, and it's at 47%. Now, the big sting in the tail for you as the employer or contracting party is if you did not withhold tax when you should have, the payment to that contractor is no longer a tax deduction for your business. So very important, we've been telling a lot of our clients to check that your contractors are providing you with an ABN, otherwise you should be withholding tax or the payment is not a tax deduction, which is fairly severe. The second obligation that you probably need to give some thought to is whether your business is subject to the taxable payments annual reporting obligations. We call that TPAR, TPAR, and that applies to industries who operate, businesses who operate in the building and construction, courier, road freight services, IT and security and cleaning industries. So there's extra reporting obligations you might be subject to Now, the great thing is if you know in advance that you're going to have to lodge these TPAR reports, it's really easy to set that up correctly in your MyOb or Xero or QuickBooks software so that at the end of the year reporting becomes quite easy. So let us know if you need some help, or if you're not sure about any of your contractor obligations. It might be a good time to have a look at that and make sure you are compliant, because one of our jobs is to make sure that our clients stay on the right side of the ATO and minimise their costs. Let us know if we can help. There's plenty of also great resources on the ATO website, and I'll put a link to that below if you want to have a read further. Thanks a lot.